Tonight, there's a warning about the dangers of fake beauty products. They might save you money, but they could hurt you in the end.
In October 2024, a federal court approved a $9.2 million settlement against the Dermatologist's skincare line sold at Sephora. The product's name included an ingredient the products did not contain. The CEO denied wrongdoing. The brand is still at Sephora. This video is about 10 products that charged you for things they either could not do or were not actually selling. Some of them are probably in your bathroom cabinet right now. If you are a woman over 40 and you have bought mid to high-end skincare in the last decade, you have funded at least one of these stories. Another of these products was investigated by the Federal Trade Commission for manufacturing its own Sephora reviews. The CEO personally using a VPN for 2 years. All 10 are still at Sephora, at Ulta, at Target. Several of them are owned by the same handful of conglomerates. We are going to name those companies too. The global skincare industry moves roughly $180 billion a year. A lot of that money buys products that physically cannot do what the label says. Some of it buys a word, medical, that has no legal meaning in cosmetics. Any brand can print it on any jar. 10 products, named, with the court filings, the ingredient lists, and the acquisition prices. Starting with the one that went to court. Number 1. Dr. Dennis Gross C+ Collagen Deep Cream. Pick up the jar at Sephora. The packaging is clinical, matte, serious. A dermatologist's name on the box. Looks like it came from a doctor's office. The line is called C+ Collagen. And on October 31, 2024, a federal court in Manhattan approved a $9.2 million settlement resolving claims that those products contained no collagen, not less collagen than advertised, none. Dr. Dennis Gross is a board-certified dermatologist. He has a practice in Manhattan. His brand has been at Sephora for over 2 decades. He named one of his product lines C+ Collagen. The class action covered 8 years of sales. 5 products: the deep cream, the serum, the eye cream, the mist, the mask. A full morning routine that, per the lawsuit, had 0 collagen in it. So what was in the jar instead? An ingredient called collagen amino acids, which, per Inky Decoder's ingredient breakdown, is what you get after a collagen molecule has been chopped up into its individual pieces. Not collagen, the raw material your body might use to make its own, under the right conditions. On a product line called C+ Collagen. The brand argued that the plus sign in C+ collagen signals clinical care, and that vitamin C helps your body make its own collagen. That is a real argument. It is also not the one on the box. The court did not rule. Both sides settled. The line no longer exists. Stay with the name a second. The C stands for vitamin C. The collagen stands for collagen. The lawsuit says the collagen was not there. The name was 50% accurate. If you bought a C+ collagen product in the last 8 years, you were part of the class. The deadline to claim your $50 passed in September 2024. If you did not hear about it, and most people did not, you got nothing. Here is the part the headlines skipped. While the lawsuit was active, in February 2024, Shiseido Americas acquired this brand for approximately $450 million. Dr. Gross's other products, including the Alpha Beta Peel at $88, are still at Sephora. Remember that $450 million number. The next brand was also in the news recently, for a very different reason. Number 2. Sunday Riley Good Genes All-in-One Lactic Acid Treatment. Before we start, something important. Good Genes is a lactic acid serum. Lactic acid exfoliates, brightens, and hydrates. The formula works. This is not a story about a product that does not work. This is a story about the 4-point-something stars you saw at Sephora when you decided whether to spend $105 on 1 ounce. In October 2018, a former employee posted to Reddit's skincare addiction community under a throwaway account. The post was titled, "Sunday Riley Employee. We write fake Sephora reviews." The employee uploaded an internal email. Sunday Riley's own Instagram account confirmed the email was real. The email was from CEO Sunday Riley, July 2016. directing staff to create 3 Sephora accounts each, using different identities. Use a VPN so Sephora could not trace reviews to the company. Always leave 5 stars. The email's exact instruction on negative reviews, and I'm quoting, "If you see a negative review, dislike it. After enough dislikes, it is removed." This directly translates into sales. End quote. That is not a memo. That is a training manual. Another line from the same email, cited in the FTC complaint, named specific products. Tidal and Good Genes are 4.2, and I would like to see them at 4.8 plus. Tidal is a $48 brightening cream. Good Genes is the serum in your hand. She wanted the numbers higher. She assigned employees to make the numbers higher. The numbers went higher. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is the FTC complaint. Filed October 2019. Public record on ftc.gov. Go read it. November 2020. 3-2 vote. The 2 dissenting commissioners called the settlement, and I'm quoting, "no redress, no disgorgement of ill-gotten gains, no notice to consumers, and no admission of wrongdoing." End quote. Translation: no refund for you, no penalty that hurt, no letter telling you the ratings you read were engineered. They lost the vote, the settlement stood, the ratings are still there. One more thing, Sunday Riley is still independently owned, still founder-led. The CEO who wrote that email is still the CEO. In 2025, she was billed at a major retail conference as the head of America's #1 independently owned, female-led, prestige skincare brand. Whatever you thought happened after the FTC case, that is what happened. If your skin looks better using Good Genes, keep using it. The lactic acid is real. What was not real was the rating you used to pick it. The ordinary lactic acid 10% plus HA, $7 at Sephora. Double the concentration. No VPN required. Number 3. Benefit Porefessional Face Primer. Every morning, every wash, every morning again. This is not a product you buy. This is a daily subscription to a visual illusion. And LVMH has been collecting that subscription since 1999. The product is called the Porefessional. That is a professional claim printed on a jar. Let's see what actual professionals say. Board-certified dermatologist Dr. Dustin Portella puts it plainly. Pore size is determined by your genetics, your age, and your sun damage. You cannot shrink your pores with a topical cream. He is not alone on this. Every dermatologist says the same thing. Your pores are the size they are. So what is Porefessional actually doing? The primary ingredient is dimethicone, silicone. It fills the visual appearance of pores the way spackling fills a hole in drywall. Cosmetic chemist Gloria Liu put it even more plainly. The effect of silicones is only aesthetic. Remove them and your pores are still there, same size as before. Wash your face tonight, the pores return. You reapply in the morning. The cycle is the product. $34 a jar every 2 months at steady use. $204 a year for the same temporary result 365 times. One beauty blogger, a long-term daily user, admitted the mechanism plainly in a review. When the pores start to reappear a few hours in, she touches up the primer over her makeup to make them invisible again. She reapplies at lunch. She writes about it as a feature. The e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer uses the same dimethicone mechanism. $14 at Target, less than half the price. LVMH owns Benefit. LVMH paid for Benefit knowing that. And LVMH owns the next brand on this list too, a brand whose name makes an even bigger promise, the science says is physically impossible. Number 4. Elemis Pro-Collagen Marine Cream. The product is called Pro-Collagen Marine Cream. Marine, from the ocean, which is fine, collagen, which is the problem. A collagen molecule weighs roughly 300,000 daltons. The barrier threshold for anything to cross your skin is about 500 daltons. The ratio against entry is 600 to 1. This is not fringe science. This is the 500 dalton rule, and it has been in dermatology journals since the year 2000. Look it up. Getting a collagen molecule through your skin barrier is like trying to mail a refrigerator through a mail slot. The slot is not broken. The refrigerator is just the wrong size. Elemis named the cream after the refrigerator. Before you say it, yes, nicotine patches and hormone creams can cross the skin barrier. They are engineered to. Tiny molecules. delivery systems designed to force the gate open. Your moisturizer is asking politely. The gate says no. The featured active is Padina pavonica. Fancy name, brown seaweed. It is a humectant. It holds water on the surface of your skin. Useful, not collagen. Even the brand's own clinical claims are only about hydration and softer fine lines. The collagen part of Pro-Collagen is nowhere on the label, because it cannot be. 1.7 ounces of Elemis, $93 to $155 at Sephora and Ulta. CeraVe Moisturizing Cream. Ceramides, hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, peer-reviewed, dermatologist founded. $14 for 16 ounces at Target. Per ounce, 55 to 91 versus 1. The refrigerator is more expensive than the mail slot. Oh, and the scent. One QVC reviewer described the signature Pro-Collagen fragrance as Dior Poison. That is what $93 buys. Seaweed humectant that smells like a 1985 department store perfume counter. One more thing. L'Occitane Group paid $900 million for this brand in 2019. L'Occitane's largest acquisition on record. Remember that name. They show up again at the bottom of this list. The next brand's story is where the mythology really starts. Number 5. Tatcha, the water cream. Unilever paid approximately $500 million for Tatcha in June 2019. Tatcha tells a story about an ancient geisha manuscript rescued from a Kyoto archive by the brand's founder. The same Unilever also makes Dove soap and Axe body spray. The geisha manuscript and the Axe body spray are now in the same corporate portfolio. This is fine. The centerpiece of Tatcha's marketing is the Hadase 3 complex. It is described in ancient-sounding language on every product page. Hadase 3 is green tea, rice, and algae. Those three ingredients appear in dozens of drugstore products. They are antioxidants and humectants available at every price tier. None of them are classified as uniquely efficacious actives by any independent skincare research body. Pull up the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel ingredient list at Target tonight. Hyaluronic acid, glycerin, plant extracts. The same hydration chemistry. $20. No manuscript, no geisha. Paula's Choice Skincare Research analyzed the water cream and landed on a simple conclusion. Japanese-derived ingredients are no better or worse than anyone else's ingredients. The nationality is branding. The water cream sells for $72 for 1.7 ounces at Sephora. The Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Cream, same gel cream format, same hydration function, similar active ingredients, sells for $20 at Target. $42 an ounce versus $12. Switch jars every 2 months and you save over $300 a year. The only thing you cannot get at the drugstore is the story. A reviewer on Sephora's community boards wrote that she was obsessed with the companion dewy skin cream for 2 days. Skin luminous, skin beautiful. Then got the worst breakout of her adult life. Another reviewer reported a full breakout within 10 days, called out the gentle ritual branding, said she had never broken out before. The gentle ancient ritual framing on the jar is not a dermatological claim. It is a mood. The manuscript is a marketing device. The geisha is a brand asset. And Unilever is a publicly traded conglomerate whose portfolio now includes both ancient Japanese beauty secrets and Europe's best-selling men's body wash. We are 5 products in. Before we name the next 5, let's look at who actually owns what you are buying. 5 products, 3 companies. LVMH owns the primer that cannot minimize your pores. L'Occitane owns the cream named after collagen it cannot deliver. Unilever owns the ancient geisha formula that is 3 drugstore ingredients in a nicer jar. The next 5 products on this list belong to the Estee Lauder companies, Procter & Gamble, AbbVie, the pharmaceutical company that makes Botox, and L'Occitane one more time. The labels change. The price points change, the origin stories change. The companies behind them barely change at all. Remember that for everything you are about to hear. The second half of this list is where the acquisition prices get extraordinary and the word medical stops meaning anything at all. Subscribe because we are not done naming names and we are not done following the money. Number 6. La Mer Creme de la Mer. In 1965, aerospace physicist Dr. Max Huber suffered severe burns in a laboratory accident. He spent the next 12 years, 6,000 experiments by the brand's count, developing a healing cream from fermented sea kelp. He called it Miracle Broth. The Estee Lauder companies eventually acquired the brand, and Miracle Broth now sells for $345 per ounce. Here is how the brand's own website currently describes how the Miracle Broth is made. Their words, quote, "Guided by our skilled scientists who use light, sound, and intuition to unlock Miracle Broth." End quote. Light, sound, intuition. For $345 an ounce, you are paying for vibes. It gets worse. FDA rules require brands to list ingredients in order of concentration, highest first. The creme de la mer list opens with water, then algae extract, that is the Miracle Broth, then mineral oil, then petrolatum, petroleum jelly. The same stuff in the blue jar at the drugstore, $4. Board-certified dermatologist Dr. Ajian Chan told Money.com that outside of the algae extract, the main ingredients in creme de la mer are basic things like glycerin and mineral oil in most facial moisturizers. Her recommended alternatives for the same moisturizing effect, Nivea Creme, Aquaphor, Vaseline, a fraction of the cost. Here is the part the brand does not advertise. Even the algae is not special. There are over 20,000 species of algae. The INCI label does not tell you which one is in this jar, and there is not a single independent peer-reviewed study proving this specific algae ferment does anything that cheaper humectants do not. The brand publishes its own studies, 12 weeks, 56 women, funded by the people selling the cream. Third-party validation is nowhere. Here is what $345 an ounce actually buys. One jar lasts roughly 30 days at twice daily use, 12 jars a year, $4,140 every year. For mineral oil, petrolatum, fermented seaweed, and the energetic residue of a physicist who died in 1991. CeraVe Moisturizing Cream, ceramides, hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, peer-reviewed, dermatologist-founded, is $14 for 16 ounces at Target. Annual spend at the same usage, about $20. The difference, every single year, is over $4,000. $4,000 for vibes. The next brand does not need a physicist's backstory. They have something more efficient, a consumer study. Number 7. Dr. Barbara Sturm Hyaluronic Serum. Dr. Barbara Sturm is a physician, an orthopedic surgeon from Dusseldorf who transitioned into aesthetics and built a skincare brand. Hyaluronic Serum starts at $110 for 1 ounce at Sephora. The larger sizes climb toward $300. The brand calls the serum clinically proven. Here is the proof. A consumer study of 80 participants who said they felt more hydrated. That is not a clinical trial. That is a survey. A real clinical trial uses comparison groups, blinding, and actual measurements, not a checkbox that says, felt nice. The brand sold a feeling and priced it like evidence. You know what else makes 80 people feel more hydrated after a drop of hyaluronic acid on the face? A glass of water. Nothing in that survey shows this serum does more than a $22 bottle of hyaluronic acid. Now the ingredient list. 8 ingredients. The hydrating active is sodium hyaluronate, the standard label name for hyaluronic acid, the same humectant in $3 drugstore serums and $300 luxury serums. The brand does not disclose the molecular weight of its hyaluronic acid, which is the one detail that would tell you whether the serum is doing anything your skin could not get cheaper. She trained in evidence-based medicine. She knows the difference between a survey and a clinical trial. She used the word clinical anyway. One Sephora community reviewer summed it up. Not bad, just really overpriced, mostly paying for packaging, not product. She said the part the brand will not. CosRx Hyaluronic Acid Triple Care Serum, $22 for 1.35 ounces at Amazon and Ulta. 3 forms of hyaluronic acid, all disclosed on the label. Switching saves roughly $500 a year. The next brand did not even need a survey. They had something stranger. A 30-year ingredient mislabeling, corrected without changing the price. Number 8. SK2 Facial Treatment Essence. In the 1970s, researchers at a sake brewery in Japan noticed something unusual. The elderly workers who fermented rice had deeply wrinkled faces and remarkably soft hands. Researchers isolated the ingredient responsible for the hands. They named it Pitera. Procter & Gamble has been selling it since 1991. A $235 bottle of sake brewery byproduct. Here is the fun part. For over 30 years, Procter & Gamble sold this essence with the ingredient listed as Saccharomycopsis ferment filtrate. Then, advanced lab analysis revealed that the yeast was not Saccharomycopsis at all. It was Galactomyces, a different genus entirely. They had misidentified the yeast for 3 decades. Procter & Gamble's official statement in response included this line, and I'm quoting, "SK2 continues to use the same ingredient, Patera, which it has been using for over 30 years to make SK2 products. Nothing has changed." End quote. Nothing has changed. They misidentified the yeast for 35 years, and their response is to assure you nothing has changed. That is the most expensive shrug in beauty. Practicing dermatologist Dr. Rachel Ho used SK2 exclusively for years before stopping. On the clinical evidence behind Patera, her verdict was blunt. She could find no experiments systematically testing the effects of Patera on humans. She stopped using SK2. Now the scent. Reviewers describe it as fermented, and the descriptions get vivid. Rice wine vinegar. Feet. One blogger went with Thai fish gravy. The product absorbs in 15 seconds and leaves no residue. You are paying $235 in part for the experience of applying something that smells like Thai fish gravy to your face. The yeast got a new name. The price did not. The ingredient class itself, Galactomyces ferment filtrate, is available elsewhere. COS-RX Galactomyces 95 Tone Balancing Essence is 95% Galactomyces ferment filtrate, higher concentration than SK2's 90% Patera, $20 at Amazon. The Sake Brewery Legend costs an additional $215. The next brand does not have a sake brewery story. They have something more valuable, the word medical. Number 9. SkinMedica TNS Advanced Plus Serum. Medical grade has no legal definition. None. The FDA does not define it. The Modernization of Cosmetics Regulation Act of 2022, which overhauled cosmetic safety law for the first time in 80 years, does not define it either. Any brand can print those 2 words on any jar. Any jar. SkinMedica prints them on one that costs $295. The phrase does more pricing work than most active ingredients. Here is the best part. SkinMedica's own parent company admits it. In a September 2020 press release, AbbVie wrote that the product is intended to meet the FDA's definition of a cosmetic, an article applied to the body to cleanse, beautify, and alter appearance. A cosmetic. Same legal category as a $12 drugstore moisturizer. They said it themselves. Then they charged $295 for the jar. The FDA calls it a cosmetic. The label on the jar calls it medical. That gap is worth $283 per ounce. The ownership chain is worth a minute. SkinMedica is owned by Allergan Aesthetics. Allergan Aesthetics is owned by AbbVie. AbbVie is the pharmaceutical company that makes Botox. They bought the whole Allergan company in 2020 for $63 billion. They know exactly what the word medical does to a consumer's brain. They priced the bottle around that knowledge. The signature active is called TNS, Tissue Nutrient Solution. Sounds medical. What it actually is, growth factors harvested from laboratory cultures of cells originally derived from newborn foreskin tissue. That is the active ingredient in this cosmetic. Find that on the front of the bottle. I'll wait. The Ordinary Buffet, a multi-peptide serum with its concentrations on the label, is $15 at Sephora. The last brand on this list, the one whose parent you have already heard. Number 10. Sol de Janeiro Brazilian Bum Bum Cream. L'Occitane Group. Again. L'Occitane paid $450 million for an 83% stake in Sol de Janeiro in November 2021. L'Occitane also paid $900 million for Elemis, product number 4 on this list. 2 brands, 2 impossible biological promises, 1 company. The Brazilian Bum Bum Cream's own product page calls it a skin tightening cream that smooths and visibly tightens the appearance of skin. The brand name, the marketing, the Sephora shelf placement all imply a cellulite and contouring effect. In fiscal 2024, Sol de Janeiro pulled in roughly €686 million, over 160% growth year over year. It is one of L'Occitane Group's biggest brands and its biggest growth driver. Here is the biology, quickly. Cellulite lives in the subcutaneous tissue. That is the fat layer, underneath the dermis. Per a 2023 peer-reviewed review in Aesthetic Surgery Journal Open Forum, the gluteal tissue where cellulite shows up has 5 distinct layers. Cellulite lives in the deep ones. No topical cream, applied normally, penetrates to that depth in any amount that could meaningfully change what is happening down there. The cream sits on top of the skin. Cellulite lives underneath it. They are not meeting. Even clinical procedures struggle. Board-certified dermatologist Dr. Elizabeth Tansey, speaking at the Scale Dermatology Conference in 2023, admitted that the field has gotten better at treating cellulite, but is still not in a place where she enjoys talking to patients about it. Lasers, radiofrequency, surgical interventions, all modest at best. A $48 body cream cannot do what a clinical procedure struggles to achieve. L'Occitane paid $900 million for Elemis, $450 million for Sol de Janeiro. The Pro-Collagen cream cannot deliver collagen. The Bum Bum Cream cannot reach cellulite. $1.35 billion buys you two brands whose names promise things biology forbids. One of them is now the group's biggest growth engine. Now the scent: salted caramel, pistachio, vanilla. It is one of the most instantly recognizable smells in any Sephora. That scent is real. If you love how it smells, keep using it. Palmer's Cocoa Butter Body Lotion is $7 to $10 at Walmart. Same moisturizing effect, different dessert. Neither one reaches your cellulite. We said 10 products. We named 10. Court records. An FTC complaint. Ingredient lists. Acquisition prices. One company owns the Pro-Collagen cream that cannot deliver collagen and the Bum Bum cream that cannot reach cellulite. One pharmaceutical conglomerate called its cosmetic medical grade, a phrase with no legal meaning, and priced it at $295. A dermatologist put the word collagen in his product name and settled a federal lawsuit for $9.2 million. And at Sunday Riley, the CEO personally directed employees to write the Sephora reviews you used to decide. Every one of those companies has a legal department. Every one of those products was cleared by a lawyer before it hit a shelf. None of this was reckless. All of it was priced. Here is what we know for sure. There will be a next one. A new product launch. A new acquisition. Another word on a jar that means nothing. If you want to know which ones before you spend, subscribe. We do this every week, and the brands keep giving us material. Think of someone in your life who is about to walk into Sephora this weekend. Someone who still trusts the word medical on a jar. Share this with her. It is the cheapest $95 you will ever save her. And the video on your screen right now is the next one you should watch. Same approach, different industry, different receipts. Tap it. In beauty, the most expensive ingredient is the word on the box. Keep looking.